Power is a game of control, and your first battlefield is attention. Too many scatter their energy, leaking it into meaningless conversations, shallow alliances, and endless comparisons. But the truth is this: when you divide your attention, you dilute your power. Every distraction you entertain is a weapon turned against your own focus. Withdraw, not to run, but to sharpen. Solitude is not exile. It is the laboratory of kings, the cave where revolutions are designed. Those who fear being alone have never met the version of themselves that can build empires. The crowd is seductive, but seduction blinds. Approval is addictive, but approval enslaves. When you stop seeking validation, you start building domination. You owe no one your energy. Every time you justify your path, you hand your sword to someone unqualified to judge your war. Embrace silence. It is not weakness. It is strategy. The truly powerful are not seen until it is too late. Greatness is born in invisible rituals, in discipline that is unseen, and in focus that becomes obsession. Say no more, refuse more, protect your mental territory like a fortress. Distractions are disguised as obligations. Kill them. Your time is your empire. It falls only when you open the gates for the unworthy. Every empire is built twice, first in the mind, then in the world, and the mind requires isolation, not loneliness, but absolute internal allegiance. You must become loyal to your own transformation. You must become obsessed with your future. Focus is not selfish. It is sacred. To ascend, you must reject the noise. Every yes to them is a no to yourself. Guard your ambition, guard your attention, guard your time like treasure, and bury it where only results will reveal its existence. You are not here to be accessible. You are not here to explain. You are here to build. Win, evolve, repeat, so disappear, not to hide, but to return with such clarity and command that the world can no longer ignore your presence. The future belongs to the focused. The rest will remain spectators in their own lives. When you divide your attention, you dilute your power. Focus is the highest form of respect towards your future self. We live in an age where attention is under siege. Notifications, opinions, gossip, distractions. The world is engineered to scatter your mind into fragments. You think you're multitasking. You're not. You're bleeding out in 1,000 small ways. Your time, your energy, your creativity, being siphoned off into things that do not serve your growth. And every time you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none. Every time you divide your energy across too many pursuits, you rob your future self of mastery. Focus is more than productivity. It is spiritual warfare. The disciplined mind builds what the scattered mind only dreams of. The greatest enemy of success is not failure, it's distraction. And distraction wears many faces. People you don't need, tasks that don't matter, emotions that aren't yours to carry. When you stop giving away your energy so freely, you become dangerous. You move with intention, you make decisions with clarity, you shift from reaction to strategy. Your future self is watching. Every choice you make, every hour you waste, every compromise you justify. Your future self absorbs the consequences. Focus is how you pay respect to that version of you. It is a declaration: I will not betray what I could become. Most people treat their future like an afterthought. Winners treat it like a mission. Every focused hour is an investment, compounding over time. You may not see results tomorrow, but the future will remember your discipline. To focus is to isolate, not out of fear, but out of loyalty to your purpose. It is to build a fortress around your mind. It is to turn your phone off. It is to say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. It is to silence the noise until only your vision speaks. In that silence, you gain power. In that silence, you sharpen your tools. Focus doesn't mean saying no to everything. It means saying no to everything that is not aligned. It means you are not pulled by urgency, but guided by importance. You become less available to people and more available to purpose. You stop chasing applause and start building legacy. You stop reacting and start designing. This is the transformation. This is where power begins. Those who achieve the extraordinary do not do more. They do less, but with obsessive depth. They pour their energy into one direction until it breaks through walls. They protect their time like kings. They value their mind like warriors because they know focus is the great separator. Power belongs to those who can stay on a path long after the world has moved on. The shallow seek variety, the strong seek depth. The world will tempt you to dabble in everything, but every master was once a beginner who chose one thing and never let go, so guard your attention. Hold your focus and respect the one who needs it most, your future self. The crowd is seductive, but seduction blinds, isolation sharpens. Withdraw not in weakness, but in order to dominate with precision. There is a powerful pull in being seen, heard, validated. The crowd promises acceptance, attention, a sense of belonging. But what it gives with one hand, it steals with the other. The crowd loves comfort, not greatness. The crowd celebrates familiarity, not disruption. If you allow yourself to be molded by its applause or destroyed by its silence, you become its prisoner. Seduction is not always physical, it's psychological. It tricks you into thinking relevance is power, but in truth, power begins when you step away. The crowd offers noise, but power is built in silence. Isolation is not loneliness, it is refinement. It is the deliberate choice to separate yourself from the mediocre, from the chaotic, from the unnecessary, not because you are weak, but because you are preparing. The lion that walks alone is not lost, it is hunting. In the same way, those who withdraw to sharpen their skills, their thoughts, and their strategy do so with the intent to return, not to be seen, but to be undeniable. When you are constantly surrounded by others' opinions, drama, distractions, you begin to lose the sound of your own mind. Your voice becomes drowned in external noise, but in isolation you begin to hear it again. You begin to reconnect with your mission, the vision returns, the fog clears, and suddenly every move becomes intentional. The greatest warriors do not train in front of an audience. They prepare in solitude, obsessed with precision. Their excellence is revealed only when it must be, when the time to strike has come. This is how power moves. Quietly, with discipline, with focus, until it no longer needs to announce itself. Most people fear isolation because it exposes them, it shows them who they are when no one is watching, but this is exactly where growth happens. When you remove the comfort of company, you're left with the mirror. You see your weaknesses, your excuses, your untapped potential, and in that space, transformation becomes possible. That's not weakness. That's war preparation. Withdraw not to escape, but to evolve, to gain clarity, to fortify the inner architecture that the world never sees but feels when you act. When you return, you move differently. You speak less, but every word cuts. You act less, but every move lands. This is the outcome of isolation done right, not just power, but precision. And in this world, it's not the loudest that win, it's the most strategic. Crowds will always chase the trend. You are here to shape it. Crowds move emotionally. You must move mathematically. The crowd thrives on comfort. You must thrive on challenge. This is what separates the legend from the common. So when the world tempts you with noise, praise, validation, walk away, withdraw into yourself, and when you return, let it be known, this silence was never weakness. It was weaponry being forged. You owe no one your energy. The moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you become dangerous. Most people are drained not by work, but by people, by conversations that lead nowhere, by obligations that are rooted in guilt, not growth, by the constant, subtle need to explain themselves to others, to justify their ambition, their silence, their evolution. But the truth is simple and brutal. You don't owe anyone access to your energy. Your time, focus, and emotional bandwidth are your most powerful currencies. If you give them away freely, you will live in emotional poverty. Explanations are chains. Every time you feel the need to justify your choices to someone who is not qualified to lead or challenge you, you surrender your authority, you become smaller, you begin living in reaction rather than intention. But when you stop explaining, when you move in silence and act without permission, you become something rare, someone with internal command. Power respects mystery. The need to explain comes from insecurity, from the fear of being misunderstood or disliked. But mastery begins when that fear dies, when you become so aligned with your purpose that other people's confusion no longer disturbs your peace. At that point, your presence speaks louder than your words. Your results speak in volumes that explanations never could. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be effective. Every time you explain yourself, you invite opinions, you invite doubts. You make space for people to question what they never had the discipline to pursue themselves. And often, those you are explaining yourself to are not listening to understand. They are listening to judge, to categorize, to bring you back to their level of comfort, because your growth threatens their stagnation. But when you stop explaining, something shifts. You become unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. The moment people realize they cannot access your inner world, they begin to respect your outer presence. You are no longer reactive, you are strategic. You speak less, and when you do, your words carry weight. You act with clarity, not from pressure. Reserve your energy for your mission, spend it on your evolution. Let your silence become your shield and your results your roar. The most dangerous individuals are not the loudest. They are the most focused. They do not explain their steps. They execute them, and when the world asks how or why, their results are already undeniable. You were not born to convince. You were born to conquer. Stop explaining your vision to people whose eyesight stops at their comfort zone. Stop pouring energy into conversations that drain your momentum. Stop performing clarity for those who only want entertainment. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Power is a result of disciplined attention and emotional boundaries. And once you stop offering your energy as tribute to every opinion and expectation, you become what they fear most: unshakable, unpredictable, and absolutely unstoppable. Every empire is built in silence. Public noise is for those who seek applause, not legacy. True power moves in shadows. It does not crave attention. It earns respect. The early stages of greatness are almost always invisible. There are no cheers, no followers, no recognition. Just relentless discipline, ruthless self-correction, and an unshakable commitment to a vision others can't yet see. That is where real empires begin, not in the spotlight, but in solitude. The world is loud. Everyone is broadcasting, performing, proving, but noise is not progress. Visibility is not value, and applause is not achievement. Those who chase attention burn out in the heat of short-lived fame. But those who build in silence, they rise slowly, strategically, and with intent. They don't announce their every move because they understand one timeless truth: power revealed too early is power compromised. Legacy demands depth, and depth is forged in silence. It is built in late nights and early mornings, in decisions made without clout, without validation, in failing without witnesses and getting back up without sympathy. The architects of empire are not concerned with being seen. They are obsessed with building something that cannot be ignored once revealed. Silence is a weapon. It is misread as weakness by the shallow and feared by the intelligent. The loud distract themselves with followers and likes. The focused disappear into the process. While the world watches trends, the builder watches blueprints. While others post their intentions, the strategist sharpens his execution. Because when you build in silence, you are accountable only to the result, not the performance. Public noise feeds the ego, but ego is the enemy of legacy. Ego seeks credit, legacy seeks impact. The applause you chase today will not echo through history. But the empire you build through discipline and purpose, that will. You don't need the world to notice you at step 1. You need to be unshakable by step 10. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them overlook you. That is your advantage. When no one sees you coming, there is no defense prepared. By the time your work is visible, your foundation is already unbreakable. You arrive not as a surprise, but as a force. And when the results speak, they silence everything else. The ones who truly matter, the visionaries, the warriors, the architects of power, they understand this, that greatness doesn't announce itself. It arrives fully formed, undeniable, and unshakable. That is what you are building, not a moment, but a monument. So while others chase claps, chase clarity, while they perform, produce, while they talk, train. Legacy does not require permission, it requires obsession, strategy, and silence, because in the end applause fades, noise dies, attention moves on, but the empire remains. Stop being loyal to distractions. Be loyal to your design. What you feed grows, what you starve dies. We don't lose time, we give it away, not to purpose, but to distractions, to endless scrolling, meaningless conversations, temporary highs, and empty validation. These distractions may seem harmless in the moment, but over time they become enemies of your evolution. They steal your energy, distort your focus, and sabotage your potential. Every second spent feeding distractions is a second stolen from your destiny. Loyalty is powerful, but dangerous when misplaced. Many people are fiercely loyal to things that are destroying them. Comfort, routine, entertainment, opinions. They show up consistently for what does not serve them. They feed habits that keep them small and relationships that keep them distracted. But what if that same loyalty was redirected? What if you poured that same energy into your design, your mission, your growth, your future? Your design is your purpose. It's the blueprint of who you are meant to become. It's not random, it's not accidental, but it requires nurturing. Like a fire, it dies without fuel. You must be intentional about what you give your energy to, because energy is a currency. Whatever you invest it in will multiply. Distractions multiply into regret. Focus multiplies into results. Every day, you're training your brain what to prioritize. You're teaching yourself what matters. Feed distractions long enough and they'll take root. They'll become your default mode, your comfort zone, your prison, but starve them, and they weaken. Ignore the noise and it fades. Neglect the unimportant and it crumbles under its own weight. At the same time, feed your design, fuel it with discipline, repetition, and obsession, and it begins to take form. Your skills sharpen. Your confidence rises, your clarity grows, what once seemed impossible becomes natural. This is not luck, this is loyalty to your highest self. Every master you admire made this shift. They stopped chasing dopamine and started designing legacy. They stopped serving distraction and started serving a direction. That transformation didn't happen in a day, it happened daily, through small choices, repeated sacrifices, fierce boundaries. They understood that whatever you water grows, and they chose to water greatness. To rise, you must make that same decision. Cut ties with distractions that pretend to care about you. Break habits that deliver nothing but delay. You are not here to be entertained. You are here to become something that shakes the world. Design demands commitment, and commitment requires sacrifice. You can't be loyal to everything. You have to choose. Choose the hard road that leads to power over the easy one that leads nowhere. Choose your vision over their approval. Choose long-term reward over short-term relief. You don't need more time. You need better allegiance. Stop feeding what's holding you back. Starve what weakens you. Honor what refines you, because in the end, you become what you're loyal to. Choose wisely. Focus is not selfish, it is survival. Every hour you give away carelessly, someone else uses to outthink you. We're taught to believe that saying no is rude, that protecting your time is arrogance, that putting yourself first is selfish. But that is a myth sold by the mediocre to make themselves feel better about their passivity. In truth, focus is not a luxury, it's a necessity. In a world that constantly competes for your attention, protecting your mind is not selfish. It's how you survive, it's how you win. Every hour of your life is a weapon or a weakness, depending on how you spend it. Most people give away their time like it's infinite. They casually scroll, chat, drift. They allow interruptions, live in reaction, and confuse motion with progress. Meanwhile, someone else is using that same hour with precision. They're reading, training, learning, building. They're creating momentum in silence while others burn daylight in distraction. This is the brutal truth. Someone is out there, hungrier than you, quieter than you, more focused than you, designing the life you keep dreaming about. And while you're checking your phone or arguing with people who don't matter, they're refining skills, studying moves, sharpening strategy. They're not trying to be everywhere, they're trying to be exceptional somewhere. That's the difference. You cannot compete at the highest level if your attention is cheap. You cannot rise if your time is open to everyone and everything. Focus is the currency of achievement, and the price of admission is the courage to disconnect from noise, from comfort, from approval, from anything that doesn't align with your direction. Understand this. Your future depends on what you prioritize right now. If you treat every message as urgent, every opinion as important, every invitation as opportunity, you'll live a life designed by others. But if you become ruthless with your time, if you defend your focus like a fortress, you'll start to shape a future few even believe is possible. This is not selfishness. This is war, a war for your attention, a war for your potential, a war against the endless forces pulling you toward average. And the only way to win is to make your focus sacred. Build a life where you are not accessible to everything. Say no quickly. Exit noise fast. Protect your mental real estate like it's your last asset, because it is. Every hour you spend in alignment compounds. Every hour you give away aimlessly dissolves. The question is, which future are you building? One that's the product of strategic focus, or one that's the residue of distraction? If it feels lonely, good. Power always begins in solitude. Focus will isolate you, but it will also refine you. You won't be everywhere, but you'll be effective where it counts. And while the world is busy reacting, you'll be preparing to dominate. Because in the end, it's not about how much you do, it's about how precisely you do it. Focus is not selfish. It's the edge that separates the remembered from the forgotten. Become the master of your emotional economy. Do not invest in what doesn't compound your value. Every day you are spending not just money but emotion, attention, energy, focus, all forms of internal currency. And like with money, your emotional investments shape your future. Yet, most people manage their emotional economy with recklessness. They pour their energy into outrage, into gossip, into resentment and noise. They chase validation from people who don't matter, give loyalty to people who haven't earned it, and stress over outcomes they can't control. It's no surprise, then, that they feel bankrupt, tired, unfocused, and empty. You must learn to treat your emotional energy like capital, limited, powerful, and meant to be invested with intention. Every time you react, argue, or emotionally engage with something that doesn't elevate your life, you are spending energy that could have been compounding your value. Every unnecessary argument is a withdrawal. Every scroll through distractions is a cost, and every grudge you carry is debt you will pay with your peace. Mastery begins when you understand that not everything deserves a response, and not every situation requires your emotion. The strongest people are not cold, they are selective. They've learned the discipline of strategic silence. They know how to disengage not because they're weak, but because their energy is too valuable to waste on what doesn't grow them. Ask yourself, where does your energy go? Who do you give emotional access to? What do you allow into your mind that costs you clarity? You cannot grow if you're constantly emotionally hijacked by things that are beneath your purpose. Just like in business, you need a return on investment. If something doesn't move you forward, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, why give it space? Build your emotional portfolio around high return assets, discipline, focus, learning, creativity, solitude. Spend energy on what sharpens you, on people who elevate you, and on actions that move your life in the direction of your highest vision, and be ruthless in cutting emotional liabilities. If a conversation steals your peace, walk away. If an environment dulls your thinking, exit it. If a person consistently drains you, set boundaries or release them. You are not obligated to emotionally serve what does not serve your future. That is not cruelty, it's wisdom. Because every time you make an emotional investment, you shape your mind, you either reinforce weakness or build strength, you either expand or shrink. Choose wisely. Eventually, your emotional economy defines your outer reality. Calm minds build strong foundations, disciplined emotions lead to consistent actions, and those who master themselves master the world around them. So, audit yourself, know your emotional triggers, be clear on your values. And most importantly, be loyal to your energy like it's your greatest asset, because it is. Energy given to purpose compounds. Energy given to nonsense dissolves. Don't just protect your time, protect your internal world. Because the difference between noise and legacy is determined by one thing: how you choose to spend your emotional currency. Greatness is not loud, it is built in invisible rituals, ruthless discipline, and in saying no 1,000 times. The world celebrates the highlight reel, victories, stages, followers, awards. But what it fails to show is where greatness is truly born. Behind closed doors, in repetition, in silence, in a world where no one is clapping. Greatness doesn't begin when you're seen. It begins when you're alone, doing the work no one sees, no one praises, and no one understands. It is not a single breakthrough. It is the result of invisible consistency. The early morning routines, the late night study, the quiet reflection, the mental battles no one knows you're fighting, these rituals, boring, brutal, and often thankless, become the foundation of something others will one day call talent. But there is no magic. Just repetition, just systems, just decisions made in isolation. Discipline is not glamorous. It's a choice repeated until it becomes your nature. It means showing up when motivation dies. It means doing the right thing when no one is watching. It means committing to the uncomfortable, not for applause, but because you refuse to stay average. Greatness demands that you train your impulses, master your time, and control your mind. That's why most never reach it. It's not because they can't, it's because they won't. The grind is too quiet for their ego, and then comes the word most people fear: no. Saying no is the gateway to power. You cannot become great if you say yes to everything. Every yes is a contract. Every yes is a piece of your time, your focus, your energy. Say yes to too many things, and you become mediocre at all of them. But those who rise, they say no to good things so they can say yes to great ones. They say no to comfort, no to distraction, no to relationships that dilute their purpose, no to anything that does not serve the mission. This is the hidden cost of greatness: sacrifice. You won't be at every event. You won't answer every call. You won't explain your decisions to everyone who questions you, because you're too busy building something they'll never understand until it's complete. And when it's done, they'll call you lucky. They'll say it happened fast. But you'll know the truth. It was built brick by brick through invisible rituals and brutal discipline. So understand this: greatness is quiet. It's not found in noise. It doesn't seek attention. It seeks mastery. It does not bloom in crowds. It grows in solitude. While others seek validation, the great seek improvement. While others chase recognition, the great chase alignment. It is a lonely road, but not a wasted one. Because in the end, greatness isn't the product of what the world sees. It's the result of the thousands of small, unseen choices you made when no one was watching. Say no, show up, stay quiet, build.